Hey there, and welcome to Behind the White Coat. I'm Amanda Barron, your host, physician spouse, and your go-to friend for real talk about this medical life. If you're juggling long hours, solo parenting, or finances, and feeling overwhelmed, you are not alone. This podcast is your space for honest conversations, real advice, and the support that I wished I'd had years ago. So some episodes will be just me sharing what I've learned along the way, and then other times I'll bring on guests to help navigate the challenges of being married to medicine. So grab a cup of coffee or wine, get comfy, and let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode. As always, I am so happy to have you here, grateful for your time and just your support. So thank you. And I'm also really excited to have you on for today's episode. It is our very, very first guest, and I am, again, thankful to have her here, have her share her story, and hopefully it helps somebody else out there. So before we jump into the episode, I would love to give her an introduction. So please welcome Kristi Hargiss. She is the writer and content creator behind The Med School Wife. She's been blogging about their medical journey since her and her husband were in undergrad in Utah. They did medical school in Rochester, Minnesota, and now they are in Jacksonville, Florida for her husband's general surgery residency. She's a mom of 3. She's got a dog. She is a burn boot camp fanatic since 2021. Obviously a med spouse advocate. She loves Netflix, Reese's Junkie, which is a girl after my own heart, some outdoor adventure, audiobook listener, and gospel lover. But when it comes down to it, her family is what matters most. So please give her a warm welcome, and I'm excited for her to share a little bit about her and her family's journey through this medical life. Hey guys, and welcome to Behind the White Coat. I am honored to have my very first guest who has agreed to join us, Kristi Hargiss from Florida. Kristi, thank you for being here and sharing a little bit about your story with our listeners.
Thanks so much for having me, Amanda.
Yes, absolutely. So Kristi is a friend that I met on social media, and her family lives in Florida, where her husband is a surgical resident at the Mayo Clinic. And I'm going to give Kristi the floor here so that she can tell us a little bit about her and her family, and then we will dive right into what this whole episode is about. Kristi?
Awesome. Yeah. So we are a family of 5. I have 3 kids. My oldest is 7 and my middle is turning 5. And then I have an almost 2-year-old. So
You're busy.
We stay busy. Yeah. Very busy ages. And yeah, they keep me on my toes.
Yeah.
And we started medical school. Let's see. So I started blogging about our journey, our medical journey back in undergrad when we got married, because my husband just knew that was his path.
Yeah.
And so I actually am a communications major and public relations, and it was kind of an assignment. And then I was like, no, I could totally take this because I love writing. And so I'm just going to go with it. And I started my own blog, The Med School Wife.
Yep.
And then social media to attach to it. And just kind of went with our story and to give a genuine perspective on it, because when we were going through the process, I felt like I could find nothing.
Yeah.
Like it was very hidden, or Reddit pages that were really negative. And I just wanted to know what to expect. And so I wanted to be a resource for other families and spouses who were on the journey. And so that's the main reason why I started to write about it.
I love that. That's the idea of all of this, right?
Exactly.
And building this community and being resources for people going through this journey and helping them. All the things you wished you would have had, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. There's so many times where like, I don't know what I'm doing. And like, I'd find somebody that has done it before and I was able to connect with them. And it brings so much more peace that you're not alone in the crazy
Yep.
journey. You're not
Yep.
alone in the feelings that you're having, and the challenges you're facing.
And what to expect and then what to do
Yes,
with the unexpected, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
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 Because, life will definitely throw you lots of curveballs.
Yeah. And knowing that you're not alone, like you said, I feel like gives you instant relief. And then even if they're not close by, you still have somebody to bounce ideas off of, get advice from, and know that it's okay. It's okay to feel the way that you're feeling. So thank you for sharing that. So tell us a little bit. Previous episodes, I did discuss match day and my personal match experience with my husband. I would love for you to share a little bit with guests or listeners, rather, of your family's experience with match day and what that actually looked like for you guys.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it was completely not what we expected.
Mm-hmm.
So we entered the match cycle of 2022, and my husband was applying for ortho, and we had done like away rotations. Everything was like tip top, great application. Like was second in his class. Um, Amazing letter of recommendations, and we honestly were told like, don't worry about it. You don't need a plan B. You're going to match. You'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Tons of interviews. And so on Match Monday, when we opened the email and we saw we are sorry to inform you did not match. It was just like, even now, just saying that is the pit in your stomach
Right.
of like,
Right. Devastating.
what? It's devastating. Like we were thrown so off guard. We felt completely blindsided.
Mm-hmm.
We were like, what? We did everything right. Like
Right. By the book.
we did everything right. He
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't have, he should have matched. Like it didn't make any sense. And we were very angry. We felt blindsided and honestly kind of betrayed,
Right.
because of things that had been said. And
Mm-hmm.
anyway,
And at that time, did you know anybody that hadn't matched before?
no.
Like, okay.
Well, okay, I will say I did know one person I had connected with on social media,
Uh-huh.
one gal, and they had gone through a couple cycles where they hadn't matched, and I had known her story, and
Sure.
I had talked with her,
Yeah.
and so I was able to talk to her. She was actually one of the first people I reached out to.
Yeah.
Because I was like, we don't know anyone, and no one talks about it.
So I just want to, for those that don't match, they end up going in or SOAP, right? Do you want to tell the listeners what SOAP stands for?
Yeah, so SOAP is let's see if I'll get it right, the supplemental. Oh, I'm gonna get it wrong.
No,
um,
I'm trying to even remember what
I
SOAP.
know what it stands for, but essentially, it's a second chance to find a match.
Right.
And you can enter that, and it essentially pulls any of the open spots from all different specialties,
Mm-hmm.
and you can apply to any of those specialties. And so when we first found out my husband went to medical school and got to work, he met with the other students who didn't match,
Mm-hmm.
which was more than we expected. It was like, especially for Mayo, it was kind of a rough year. And
Yeah.
surprisingly, they were all ortho.
Interesting.
And so we met with them and we kind of made a plan moving forward, like pulling all of the open spots of specialties we were kind of interested in,
Mm-hmm.
and looking at prelim years, which is essentially a work year that you do before you reapply again to the match. And so we sat and kind of sifted through everything for a while and made plans, submitted applications, reached out to programs, readjusted letters, and for the first day. And then by Wednesday, it's a very fast process.
Very fast. Now, do you mind if I back up just because for people that haven't gone through this before or just going through this? So when you find out you don't match, then the next day you meet with people at your actual medical school, or everything is done online where you can find these positions that are open?
Yeah. So we met them day of, and they wanted everyone to come in day of. It might be different for other medical schools. I'm not sure their process, but so day of, we went in and met with the medical school and the counselors, and they had like a whole team there to help people. I have heard stories where medical schools aren't as helpful. So it may depend on your school, but generally that's the first rule of thumb, is to rely on them, and because it's their job to help you.
Right. And so they have a list of potential openings.
Yeah. So it's all done online. They have a website of all the opening spots. And our year was like, I think over 500 spots were not filled in EM. So there's like lots of different options and specialties. And then you can reach out from there. And then you start applying to programs, applying and reaching out to the directors. And there are rules too. So make sure you're following the rules, because some things you can't communicate with certain people, and they can't communicate with you until a certain time. So make sure you understand the rules. And your medical school should be able to help with that, and the online AMA.
And so you go through changing up your letter, applications again, and interviews again?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And what does that timeline look like? I know you said like day of, and then you're starting to rush to change that stuff and potentially reach out to these places. What does that look like?
It's pretty fast and furious. So if I remember correctly, it's like you submit your apps back in for the programs that you want, and then within the next day you will be getting invites, and there's usually like 3 or 4 rounds where you can hear, and then they work through their lists and they call back, and so it's a lot of back and forth, and you can get on phone calls, and you need to be ready to jump on
a
those
plane
immediately.
Is it like in person or virtual? Both?
Virtual generally. Yeah. Unless you're in the same city. And then you'll know where you're matching if you go through the SOAP on the day before match day. So you'll know where you're going essentially on Thursday, because it's kind of like, they offer it to you right in the interview. Like, we'd like to keep you and sign you on, or they'll be like, we'll get back to you, and then they'll offer it. So it's kind of very anxiety driven.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
It's a scramble, but you still find out on match day?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you still like participate in match day. It just looks different. Then you could end up in a completely different specialty than what you were planning on.
Okay. And that was going to be my next question. So if you end up in a different specialty than you planned, then you just pivot and go that route, or could you eventually kind of navigate back to your initial plan of action as far as what your specialty initially was going to be?
Yeah, I think that kind of depends on the position that you get. So if you're getting like a categorical, because there's 2 types of positions. So there's a prelim position, and that's essentially like you're a temp and you're coming on as a temporary intern. And then you reapply for the next cycle. If you come on as a categorical position, that is your spot. And it's most people would say, don't give that up.
I see. And then you just stay with that specialty.
And you stay with that specialty. Some people do pivot mid, like I know a couple people who have pivoted mid residency and have shifted to different residency programs.
And then do they start back at the beginning?
It depends on all of the requirements.
Okay.
So it's possible though. Like you can start in like as a prelim in general surgery, and then you pivot and you go to anesthesia for your categorical position. So I had a friend who did that.
Interesting. Okay.
Let's see, midweek of match week, about Tuesday, Wednesday, my husband and I both were just feeling like this is not the right step for us.
Joining SOAP, you mean, was not the right step?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah. Participating in the SOAP was not the right step for us. And he honestly just felt like if I end up, he was going to look at EM positions and a couple other specialties, but he's just
very
like,
different than orthopedic.
If I end up there, I don't feel like I'm going to be as fulfilled.
Yeah.
I knew that he belonged in the OR, and that he knew he belonged in the OR. And so we stepped back and we pulled out from the SOAP, and we started making a new plan. And so he began reaching out to a ton of different programs, and he set up 6 away rotations. And so we were able to delay graduation for another year. Not all medical schools allow you to do that.
I didn't even know that was an option. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Some will and some won't. Some will let you delay it till like December, and others are like, no, you need to graduate now, take a gap year. But we were able to retain our student status, which then allowed us to be able to keep certain aid and things like that. So we're really grateful that our medical school was very flexible with that. And so we delayed graduation, and for the next 6 months, beginning in May, he went on away rotations. And I got a single parent at home with 2 kids, which was so fun.
Yes. Yes. My husband had a fellowship in a different state for a year when we had our 2 kids. So
yeah,
I fully understand.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Yes. On both sides. Yeah.
On both sides.
Yeah.
It's exhausting for different reasons. On both sides, the loneliness and the never being alone and the stress of it. It was probably one of the hardest periods of time through our medical journey.
Sure.
Minus intern year.
Yeah.
Intern year, it's been rough.
that was our roughest.
But medical school side, it was definitely
So he did 6 rotations away.
Yes.
And so was each one a month long?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he did, so this is where we started opening up and kind of changing our course. He did, most of them were in orthopedics.
Okay.
And then he did 1 in general surgery because we figured, we should really dual apply our next time because it's safer. And
you have more options.
You get more options, and you still get to be in the OR with either specialty. And so when he did his away rotation with general surgery, and then he did all of his orthopedics surgery rotations, he was able to kind of see different cultures and get a better idea of the specialties. And when it came to making our rank list come February, when he was finally home, we did mix up orthopedics and general surgery, but our top choice was general surgery in the end because we felt like it was more in line with the type of surgery he was enjoying there more. And especially the program that we ended up here at Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, the culture and the exposure he was getting and the time in the OR, it was exactly kind of what he was looking for.
I love that.
And so in the end, like, it was not the way we would have wanted it to happen. Like, no one wants to not match,
Right.
but going unmatched completely sucked.
Yeah.
But I truly believe that it was where God wanted us to end up. And he needed us to be able to go through that, to be able to see that, hey, you can do hard things and you've got this. And like, I've got you. And
here's your path, right?
Here's your path. Like, trust in the process, because it may be lonely and hard, and it's going to completely suck to go through all of this, but you're going to end up where you need to be.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't realize he had to do all of those away rotations. So, Christy, what tips or advice can you share with somebody who has to pivot or did not match and they're having to come up with their next steps?
Yeah, great question. So I have 5 main tips that I would offer for those who go unmatched or partially unmatched.
Perfect.
The first one is to grieve later. The second one would be to find great mentors and rely on your people. Mm-hmm. The third is broaden your approach and consider all your options. And then the fourth would be get to work. And 5 is to write out your story. So my first tip would be to grieve later. And that may come off a little harsh, but take a day if you need to and grieve and be mad about it, because you need that. You definitely do. But in the same breath, your time is short, especially if you're going to be going into the SOAP and you're going to participate in SOAP.
Yeah.
That week is crazy. And we kind of talked about that and how fast all of the steps are to reapply to different specialties, different openings. It goes quick.
Moving quick.
Yeah. If you're not going into the SOAP, you have to think that, okay, yeah, sure, I'm going to participate in the next cycle, but really you don't have a lot of time. Apps go out soon afterwards. You have to be ready to begin again. So the match happens in March, and then applications are due in September. Interviews are in October and go through early February. So really you have 6 months to revamp your application, get letters, figure out your game plan. Are you going to dual apply? What are you going to look for when it comes to specialties? Are you switching?
Interviews,
Interviews. Are there requirements that you need to meet for switching specialties? Because a lot of them require you have to have an away rotation
good point.
For that specialty. So you really don't have a lot of time. So that first tip is to grieve later. And that will come through the months as you process everything, but you really don't have a lot of time to waste. You've got to get moving.
Yeah. Good point.
And then my second tip would be to find great mentors and rely on your people. So for the medical student, you've got to have those great mentors that you can turn to. Rely on your school counselors, the mentors that you've been working with in the clinic, in the OR, and ask for feedback. And rely on them for the support. You want them to tell you straight, because like I said, you don't have time to waste.
Yeah.
And they are people who are going to network for you. They're going to speak up for you. They're going to speak highly of you, and they're going to connect you. And that's honestly who we feel like made all the difference for us, was those solid mentors that my husband had, who knew how Blade worked. And they knew who he was, and they loved and respected him. And so they wanted him to succeed. And so they were the ones who were making calls for him. And they were like, hey, there's this away rotation. Maybe you should reach out to this program, and I'll put in a good word for you.
I love that they could advocate for him. And he sounds like he had some really great mentors who could guide him. They knew his work ethic and could be his voice.
Exactly. Yep. Find those people who will be on your team.
Yeah.
on the medical side, you've got to have that network. For the spouse or the significant other, tell your friends, like, it sucks because you're trying to support your spouse or your significant other in this extremely hard thing. They just spent 4 years crushing it and spending all of their time and effort in it. And it didn't happen what they thought would happen.
And you need your support too. Not only does he need his connections and his support, but you need yours as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are trying to support them, but then you're also dealing with the gravity of it and how it affects you and your family.
Right.
And so you really need that. So tell your friends, let them help you, let them be there for you, be the cry on their shoulder. I remember the day after match, the day after Monday, I belonged to a gym and I went to the gym and some of my best friends were at this gym and I just sobbed in their arms. God, I'm going to cry.
Yeah. It's emotional and it's a long, exhausting journey for both of you, and finding people that you can be real with and potentially finding people that have gone through it as well that can offer advice. And so that's why I'm so grateful to have you on the podcast and share this, because I think this is going to resonate with so many people that have gone through it or will go through it, and knowing that it's going to be okay and what to do. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. I really hope that's always been my goal of sharing it. I wrote a really long blog post about it when it first happened. And the goal has always been you're not alone in this.
Yeah, and help others.
Because the match really isn't talked about. Like when you go unmatched, it's not talked about. There's so much stigma behind it. And like shame of like, you did something wrong. You weren't enough. Like, and in the hindsight, when even with being a spouse or significant other, that affects you of like the same feelings. And so it is crucial to have those people that you can rely on and let them help you connecting with people who haven't matched before in previous cycles or in the current cycle you're in, because that's where you're going to find people who get it.
Yeah.
And people who can support you through that.
100%. Love that.
Awesome. So my third tip would be to broaden your approach and consider all your options. So, and as a spouse or significant other, you can definitely help with this. Looking at different specialties, is that something that you want to do? And getting really serious about your application. Systematically going through and breaking down your application. Are there red flags? What are your weaknesses? Were the letter of recommendations not as good as they should have been? Calling, one thing that my husband did was he called the programs that he felt a connection with during interviews or from previous rotations and asked for feedback. Like, hey, this happened. I really would love help of where I can go forward from here. What is your feedback of something that I should change or look into to improving and getting stronger in?
That's awesome. I love that he did that. And did he find most people were very receptive to not only talking to him, but giving the advice?
Yeah, most people I would say were pretty receptive and helpful in giving advice. He had a few people that would ghost him, but
yeah, sure.
You're going to have those people that are like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. And
well, it's a hard conversation. It is a hard conversation. And that's
vulnerable.
Where and, kudos to him for doing that. And then I think sometimes for any of us to sit back and reflect or look in the mirror to see what we can improve or do differently isn't easy. But I think that's an amazing tip. And I love that advice, and kudos to him for doing that.
Yeah, it took a lot of, it took humility for him to be able to breathe and say, okay, like, I need all the help that I can get, and I'm open to anything. So as a spouse, you can definitely help with that breakdown of the application, being really critical and looking at things. Where can you improve? the AMA actually has some really great resources too. They have a guide that's called the AMA Road to Residency Guide. So that's a suggestion that I would give to people to look at. It kind of breaks things down. And then just kind of considering all of your options when it comes to your approach for that next cycle. Like, are you going to take a gap year? Are you going to delay graduation if that's a possibility?
Mm-hmm.
Are you really committed to the SOAP? Like, what does things look like for you? Which kind of leads me to my next tip, which is to get to work.
Yeah.
You've got to figure out what your next steps are. And so a lot of people that I've talked with who haven't matched, they took like that year off, or they either found a job in like a clinical setting, they snagged a research position. Hopefully you can find one that pays.
Yes, exactly.
Or like my husband did, he cold called some programs and to set up away rotations. So that's kind of one thing we did with when he set up those away rotations is he made cold calls to programs he was interested in. Some responded, some didn't. But he just threw out like a really big net. And then he also asked from his mentors, both in orthopedic surgery and general surgery at Mayo Clinic Rochester, where we were at for med school, for help in networking and reaching out and seeing if there were other opportunities for rotations. And so he was able to secure, he could have done more, but we were like, let's just stick with the 6.
Yeah.
You also have to fit the bill financially and figure out all the logistics of travel and food and care and like, what is all of that going to look like?
Right. No, I think that's great.
Yeah. So that was one thing that I would suggest is just like really, really, really rely on your network. Because that's, I think the biggest thing that helped us was with our network, they were able to call up those connections they have and then put in a good word here, put in a good word there. And I think all the rotations that we ended up at, that he ended up at for his aways, all of them minus one were secured through a connection.
It's amazing how networking can really make a difference, not only on the medical side, but I think the spouse and partner side as well. Like your network, I feel like is huge in so many ways that you may not even know yet.
So my last tip, number 5, would be to write out your story. And this goes for both the medical student and the spouse. At least I think it's really important.
Yeah.
It's very therapeutic, and you can look back in the years past as they come, look back in a year and see how far you've come. Writing down our story and sharing it, you don't have to share it, but that was one of the most therapeutic things because I could put all of my frustration, all of my sadness, all of it all on one on my keyboard.
One platform.
And to help figure out your emotions and process those.
Yeah.
And then you can see things that you never thought, like the good parts of it too. And you can see God's hand in things. You can see those tender mercies that were meant for you. So that you know that you're on the right path. And those kind of things are important to remember because the journey is hard.
It is. And I also think, like I talked about before, sharing your story, letting people know these feelings are real and it's okay to have these feelings. And, my husband and I say a lot of times through this journey, how much it's brought us closer together in so many ways and helped us find a community that we would never have been able to find without this journey as well. And so we're very grateful for the hard times And we know that so much good not only comes out of it later on, but also after the training, all the good that your medical spouse will be able to do for others. And so it's good to share that and feel that.
Exactly. And then you find those people who
Mm-hmm.
have been in a similar situation, and you see that, okay, yeah, I'm not alone in this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like honestly, going unmatched is not like out of the ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
if you look at the numbers, like in our match cycle, I think, let me see. Our match cycle, that there was 8,474 applicants who didn't match into a
Amazing.
categorical position.
Wow.
And like this year, I looked it up. They said it was the largest ever in the program's history, with a total of 43,237 positions offered, but there was 52,498 match applicants. So there's a huge disparity
Yeah.
of
What a difference.
positions and applicants.
But you don't hear
And
about
so
that.
like you don't
No.
hear about that.
Mm-mm.
And so when you go unmatched, you're like, well, crap.
Right.
Like, what's
Right.
wrong?
And you feel alone.
But it's not. Yeah, you feel alone, and but you have to realize it's not uncommon.
Yeah.
And you will figure out the process to get back on the horse, and it will work out how it needs to.
Yep. Well, thank you for sharing your story, your husband's story, your family's story, and just what you can do to get to the other side and what that looks like on the other side. And so I know it's not an easy story to tell and an easy journey, but I'm so appreciative to you for sharing this. So thank you.
Thank you.
I always like to wrap up with two questions. One, just tips or advice that you would offer physician partner families along this medical journey. So it doesn't necessarily have to be about match or unmatch, but just tips or, just one big tip that you would give
Yeah.
a partner or a family going on this medical journey.
So I would say there's two main things that come to mind. One is just the mindset of mutuality in a medical marriage, that it is a we.
Yeah.
You can join. It's a we. It's a family thing. Like,
Sure.
And so having that mindset of mutuality is really important.
I love that and totally agree.
And then like a more kind of practical tip would be to start prepping in medical school for that transition to residency when it comes to finances.
Good idea.
That was definitely a slap in the face of reality when you're switching from medical school to residency and all the financial shift.
Yeah.
Even though you're probably making more money than you ever have.
Yeah.
You also don't have as much help.
Right.
And so finances and expenses and things like that in residency are that intern year made it pretty stressful. So
It's tough.
prep in medical school.
Yeah.
Start then.
Come up with a budget, come up with a savings plan. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
I totally agree.
save as much as possible.
Yeah. No, good tips. And the last one is just kind of a fun one where it's if you were a reality show living this medical life, what would be the name or title of your show?
Oh, that's such a good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when you asked me that, I was like, oh my goodness, like I came up with something good. I would say either between shifts and sacrifices or paging Dr. Husband, love, scrubs, and survival.
Oh, I love both of those. Those are really good ones. They're creative. So I love those. I always try to think of what mine would be, and it really depends on the day for me of what my reality TV show would be called. Well, Christy, thank you so much for your time sharing your story. And I wanted to ask you before we hop off, where listeners can connect with you or find you or reach out to you if you have, if they've got additional questions for you? What's the best place for them to do that?
Yeah. So you can reach out to me on social media. I'm at, even though we're in residency, I'm at the med school wife _ Christy on Instagram. And then same on Facebook, med school wife. And then you can also find me on my website at themedschoolwife.com and reach out to me in any of those spots.
Perfect.
Love to connect.
Yes. No. Thank you again for your time and sharing your story, and just knowing that you're not alone in this journey, and there's a lot of us out there for help and support. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Until next time.
Bye.
That's a wrap on this episode of Behind the White Coat. I hope today's conversation left you feeling more understood and supported. And if you enjoyed this episode, I would love for you to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with another physician spouse. Your support helps more of us to connect. Keep in mind, this podcast is for you. So let's keep this conversation going. DM me on Instagram at Amanda Barron, Realtor, with your thoughts, topic ideas, questions, or even guest suggestions. I would really love to hear from you. Thanks for spending part of your day with me, and remember, you are never in this alone. See you next time.